How to get a second date with a woman. Hi guys, my name is Christine Loveridge and I am a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today we are talking about how to get a second date with a woman. So if you've found this video, then obviously you've had probably your first date with a woman and you're wondering how you can get a second date. Or perhaps you just want to learn about things that you should be doing on a second date. So I believe the biggest thing that helps you to get a second date is how you behave on the first date. If you had a really bad first date, then it's not as likely that you will get a second date with a woman, especially if she became uncomfortable or she didn't think it went well, or perhaps she found out that she wasn't really that attracted to you. It can be a number of things that can cause a second date to not happen, and that usually happens in the first date. So if she didn't really have a great time or she doesn't think that you two are suitable, then you're probably not going to get a second date. However, even if the date went badly but she still finds you attractive, there is a chance of getting a second date. So on the first date, the primary thing that you need to be doing on first dates with anybody, you need to make sure that it's fun. You need to make sure that it's enjoyable. You're not bringing up things about relationships too soon. You're not really talking about negative subjects or bringing up past relationships that you've had. And if that topic comes up on a first date, you should really be focusing on trying to make it, positive. And so let's say you had a really harsh breakup with your past girlfriend and it was really painful to you, it's better not to elaborate too much on it because it's just going to come across as negative. Even if it was a really painful breakup, you don't want to be bringing up all these sad past things that happened to you. And you don't want to be doing this on the second date either, because the idea is that when you go on a date, those first few dates with a woman that you really like, you want to make sure that it's fun for her. You want to make sure that she enjoys herself and that you also enjoy yourself. So this means like just having a laugh, having fun, going to a few different places, and just having an enjoyable experience and making it a fun experience for her. So you're making her laugh, she's probably making you laugh, just having a good time and enjoying yourselves. You don't want to be getting hung up on bringing up topics about having a relationship with her or having feelings for her. You don't want to bring up anything like that, because even at a second date you still don't know each other well enough in order to bring up those things. So let's say that you have finished your first date and you want to know how to get a second date with this woman that you've been on a date with, and you're not sure what to do. Well, the first thing that you need to make sure that you do is that you don't bring up the second date just yet. You need to wait about perhaps a week before you ask her out again on a second date. You don't want to go straight into it, like let's say like a day after or something like that, because basically when you're dating a woman, the best way to approach it is you go out on a date, let's say on a Saturday, then you probably contact her the next week, like maybe on the Thursday or the Friday, to ask her out on a second date. In between that time, she may reach out to you. And if she does reach out to you, let's say she reaches out to you the day after or a couple of days after, then of course in that conversation you can probably bring up the topic of going out on another date. But between that time you should wait. When I went on my first date with my fiance, this was a good 3 or 4 years ago now. After our first date, I didn't talk to her for about 5 days before asking her out again on a second date, and it worked. That's what worked for me. I think if I had brought it up like straight afterwards or maybe a day afterwards, it would have been too soon. But basically I gave her the time to think about the date, and to allow that anticipation to grow and for her to wonder about me and that sort of thing. And when I told her that I actually planned to do this, like I said to her, like a few months into our relationship, that I planned to wait a few days afterwards to ask her out again on a second date. So it was about 5 days. And she was happy that I did that. She said, "Oh, thank you for doing that, because that helped me, process things." I remember her saying something along those lines to me. So this is what they want. Especially if they are very feminine, they want you to, hold back and give them a bit of space to think about the date, to process it, before going straight into asking them out on a second date. So the best port of call is to wait about 4 or 5 days before asking her out on a second date. It also shows her that you're not, too much of an eager beaver, and it shows that you're not really obsessed with her. Like, you're letting things happen naturally and you're being casual about it. Now, some people may think this is playing games, but I honestly don't think that. I think if you ask a girl out straight away after a second date and she hasn't really had time to think about the date and think about you, it's too soon. And it also shows that you're being too eager and too needy. And when you're being too eager or too needy, that makes a girl feel uneasy because she's like, well, why is this person being so eager to see me again so soon straight afterwards? What's going on with that? We've only been on one date. They only know me a little bit. Why are they being so eager? It makes them feel unsure and uncomfortable. And you want to make them feel comfortable. You want to make sure things are relaxed. And by taking this relaxed approach, by waiting a few days after your first date, so 4 or 5 days for the minimum, that gives her time to think about you. It gives her time to process things. So that's my recommendation on when you should ask a girl out on a second date. The second thing that I want to get into is if a girl doesn't want to go on a second date with you, don't let yourself believe that it's because you are not worthy. There are a number of reasons as to why a girl might not want to go on a second date with you. And the reasons could be just like, well, she didn't find you that attractive. She didn't really like the interaction, or she didn't feel like you two gelled, or it could be that she's still hung up on another person and isn't really ready to date, or their ex-boyfriend came back into the picture, or their ex-girlfriend, and they now, want to carry on a relationship with them, because sometimes that happens. Sometimes people break up, and during that breakup period they get back together, and sometimes during that breakup period they might date other people and then realize that they want to get back together. So there could be a number of reasons. It might not be you, it might not be your personality, it might not be your looks, and just because you're not this particular girl or woman's type, if that is to do with that, like let's say they didn't find you good looking enough, or they didn't think that your personality was well fitted, that doesn't necessarily mean that another woman, a future woman that you go on a date with, will think the same things. Because we all have our own preferences and our own types, and we all have things that we are personally attracted to. And we all have people that we are more drawn to and more attracted to. That might just be it. It might just be the fact that you want this particular girl's type. So all you need to do is you just need to keep on dating, keep on meeting new people. Don't let it affect you and think that you are not worthy just because this one girl didn't want to go on a second date with you. And even if it's been the case that you've been on a few dates and you've never got a second date, it's still a numbers game. There's still going to be a girl out there that will go on a second date with you. But of course there could be a few things that you might be doing a bit wrong while you're on your first date in order to not get a second date. So one of these things could be bringing up past negative experiences, just being a negative Nelly in general, or being too needy, or bringing up the topic of having a relationship with them too soon, confessing your feelings to them or something. Like, let's say you've known them for a while and you just think they're really gorgeous and you feel like you're in love with them. It's better to not say anything like that at all until you are actually in a physical relationship with them. This is why I tell people, like, if they've had a crush on someone for a long time and they want to ask them out, it's better to just ask them out and not, send a long, essay about how you feel about them. That's going to make them feel uneasy because, well, basically when you send a long message of like a declaration of love to a woman and you haven't even been on a date with them and you don't really know them that well, it makes them feel uneasy, and it kind of comes out of the blue to them. It makes them feel like, well, where did this come from? I thought we were friends. Why are you saying all this to me now? You don't really know me in that way. We haven't been on a date, so how can you know if you're in love with me or not? Because we haven't had that, two-sided romantic connection. So it just comes across as too much too soon. If the first interaction that you really have with her, you're confessing feelings of love and how much you want to marry her and have babies with her or something. It's just too much too soon. You need to wait until you're actually exclusively in a relationship to have that kind of conversation. Dates should just be these lovely opportunities to have fun with each other, have a laugh and have a good time. That's all it should be. It shouldn't be anything to do with confessing your feelings of love or becoming needy and, acting like boyfriend and girlfriend straight away, even though perhaps that connection hasn't happened yet, or treating her as if she's your girlfriend even though she might be dating other people because you don't know. And that happens, people are often dating other people when they, because you're not exclusive with anyone. So of course you might have a few people that you've been on a date with in the same month, especially if you're trying to find someone to be in a relationship with. Women are the same. They do the same thing as that. They are talking to other people. If so, let's say you met this person on Tinder or something, they might very well be talking to other people and going on dates with other people. And you must be doing that as well. And you must assume that this is happening. So if you're treating them like a girlfriend and like they're yours, it's too much too soon. Really, when things start to progress into a relationship, it's usually roughly into about maybe like the end of the second month, the third month of dating. If let's say you've been seeing each other once a week, that's usually when the relationship starts to build and you start to become boyfriend and girlfriend. Because if you've been having a date, let's say every week for a couple of months, like 2 or 3 months, then obviously she's really into you and you've been on, quite a few dates. You've been on maybe like about 8 or 9 dates with her. So of course, you're going to be, you're developing that relationship then. But in the first couple of dates, before, the end of the 2 months or into the 3 months, it's too soon to be confessing these things and to be being needy. You should just be taking her out once a week, waiting a week or so before asking her out on a second date. And if she reaches out to you first, then of course in that time you can, go on another date. Because what will happen over time is she will pick up on the fact that you are waiting, about 5 or 6 days before asking her out again, 4 or 5, 6 days. And she'll be like, well, I want to see them sooner, so I'm just going to contact them now. And let's say it's been after 2 days, so she might contact you saying, hey, how are you? And basically if she says, hey, how are you? Then you can start making that other day happen, and it can happen sooner. And basically what happens is you probably start by seeing each other once a week, and then because she starts reaching out to you more, because she knows that you're quite laid back and you don't ask her out for a second date for another date for a while, basically she will start to reach out to you more, and then you will start perhaps seeing each other 2 times a week. And when you start seeing 2 times a week, that's usually when, the relationship thing starts to progress. But that usually happens, again, after the end of the second month. You start seeing each other a lot more. And of course it also depends on the attraction level. So if she's really attracted to you, she may reach out to you even after the first date. And you might start seeing each other nearly every other day, almost straight off the bat, depending on how much you gel together and how much you like each other and all that kind of thing. So on your second date, it's important that you do different things than you did on the first date. So let's say on the first date you went out for a meal and perhaps you went out for a walk somewhere, like you went on an evening walk or something near a lake or something. On the next date, you don't want to do the same thing. You don't want to go to the same restaurant. You don't want to go to the same places. You want to go to different places to shake it up, because then it feels new, it feels fresher, it feels different. And you want to have a few places in mind. I mean, on the first day, you also want to do this. You want to have multiple places that you can go to. So you might go somewhere for starters, and then you might go somewhere else for a sit-down meal, and then you might go out for a walk by a river, or go and do something else, or go and play bowling or something. And then on the second date, you want to do the same kind of thing. You want to do the same kind of thing, like go to multiple different places, but you don't want to be going to the same places as you did on the first date. So freshen things up a bit. And the reason why you want to go to multiple places on a date is because it speeds up the dating process. Because if you do more things, it makes everything seem longer and fuller, and it makes everything a little bit different. Because if you only meet at one place on a date and that's it, that's kind of like, well, one date. But if you go to different places, it could feel like 3 or 4 dates in the same evening, because you're going to different places. And it just makes things freshening up. It just makes things feel a bit different. And basically the approach that you just want to make sure that it's an opportunity for you guys to just have a laugh, have fun, and perhaps if things progress, then obviously you make a move. But if they don't, then just hang back and have fun and have a laugh with each other. Anyway, I hope this has given you some help on what to do on a second date, how to get a second date with a woman, and basically the right approach on how you should be dating women within those first few months of meeting each other. Yeah, I hope it's helped. And if you'd like help with me personally, because obviously these videos are very generalized and you'd like help with a specific situation, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com/shop. Alternatively, you can use the email address provided in this video's description box, and we can work something out that way. I hope this has helped with learning about second dates, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye, guys.